Alrighty, preview time once again. United versus Spurs, and Spurs are in dire straits. They welcome United, and they are going to be in for some shit from their fans if they don't book their ideas up. They got absolutely destroyed against Newcastle 6-1, back-to-back defeats, leaving the club 6 points off the top four. Top four that, despite the turbulations that they've had this season, I actually thought they was looking like a bit of a threat for. That Newcastle result has probably put to bed Tottenham's top four aspirations. And in the midst of all of this lot, they've actually sacked their interim manager, who was only interim manager because they've sacked Antonio Conte. Ryan Mason is now in charge for the rest of the season. United obviously were in FA Cup action on Sunday. We booked our spot back at Wembley for the final. It took us all the way to penalties, obviously. I can imagine there's a little bit of tired legs for United. But I think getting Spurs put away, and our away form has not been great. We all know this. I think if we can manage to put Spurs away, that probably puts to bed Spurs' chances completely of finishing inside the top four, and does go a long way to making sure United are going to finish fourth at worst. I think it would be fair to say. Tottenham have lost their last 4 games in the league against Manchester United, and they've just won 3 of their last 21 Premier League home games against United with 7 draws, 11 defeats, which is not a good record. Lads, it's Tottenham, really comes into effect here. But check this out for an insane stat. None of Tottenham's last 26 home games have been drawn. They've had 18 wins and 8 losses, and none of their last 108 home games have been a 0-0 draw. Isn't that weird? Weird stat. Anyway, how do they play? Under Mason, I have no idea. Now, Stellini was cut from the same cloth as Conte. He sent Spurs out in the 3-4-2-1, and I think there's a chance that we don't know what Ryan Mason's going to play. But I think that we saw them in a 4-3-3 against Newcastle, and they got absolutely destroyed. So a 4-3-3 is a possibility. But if they're worried about how it went, and to be honest, I remember on Vibe with 5 on Sunday, I was chatting about this. I was like, their back four is horrific. When you've got Perisic playing left back, not left wing back, left back, I don't think it's a good idea. I think they probably should revert to a back 3. The team knows it. There's a handful of games left. Why are you going to bother trying to reinvent the wheel? But it'll either be 4-3-3 or it'll be a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2-1 or some sort of a way up like that. Tottenham usually try and build out the back through the back 3 or a combination of 3 players. From time to time, it's been Højbjerg. He drops to the left of a free man, as well as Ben Davies or whoever's playing left side centre half. Pushes up a little bit higher and gives that little bit more depth, and that push forward is high and it's wide, and then Spurs look to try and overload that left hand side, playing to the left wing back, which has quite often been Perisic, and then try and combine with Son. That's how they get over the halfway line generally when playing out. They're quite good at drawing teams to one side of the pitch before switching it into space on the other side and identifying an overload on the other side, where the opposing wing back, it's been Emerson Royal quite a lot, likely be Porro. When they're on song, that sort of drag and switch has been quite effective for them. They're not on song at the moment. Son and Kane have been statistically one of the most productive Premier League duos of all time. What you see is Kane tending to drop deep. He receives the ball, gets on the turn, and Son takes over a high starting position and looks to spin off in behind. And Kane has got the passing ability to be able to find him, and they're almost telepathic at times. And I believe the way Son runs off is very reminiscent of how Marcus Rashford would run off. And that's why I actually could see Harry Kane, if he did come to Manchester United, working with Marcus Rashford very well. When they're playing in the 3-4-2-1, they will look to try and block high up the pitch, and they don't try and press high with it. So they'll have a high line and they'll have almost like a solid defense across the center of the pitch. No through balls, not looking for anything to go over the top. And they look to try and create diamond overloads wherever they can to outnumber specific players. And Spurs have shown the occasional tendency to squeeze high and to press on opposition on goal kicks, but more often than not, it's that high mid block, and they look to try and block you passing through them. So sometimes going over the top against Spurs is a move. And if you can get Marcus Rashford in space, you could do some damage. I think Anthony and Marcus holding their width, getting in behind the wing backs if they play the free, or in behind the fullbacks, because they're still mentally wing backs when they play in that system. There's space behind them, and there's not the extra man in the centre. So I actually think if they play a 4, if it's a 4, just lump on United to score loads and batter them. If it's a 3, might be a little bit tighter. It'll be a 3, won't it? The star man is Harry Kane. There's no two ways around it. I'm a big fan of Heung-min Son. He's not having the greatest of seasons this season, but Harry Kane's having an outstanding season, and it's been only overshadowed because Haaland has come in and done freaky stuff. Kane's on 26 goals, 4 assists in 43 this season, which is a hell of a return. Undoubtedly one of the best finishers that the Premier League has seen. Ever-present danger, generally only needs one chance, selfish as you like, and has got excellent vision when he drops in between the lines, because you don't want to leave him. So you got to pass him on, and that requires communication. And if the defensive midfield isn't picking him up, or there's someone else in his zone, Kane can find the space and get on the turn. But you can make him a non-factor. There's games where he's been marked out of the game. You can get physical with him. He does tend to get a bit moany, and I think after what happened at the weekend, if you can get an early goal, their heads go down. I mean, maybe not as quite as early as Newcastle did, but you could put a couple past them before they even figure out what's going on. Spring is in the air, and it's time to spruce up your grooming routine with Manscaped, the experts in below-the-waist care. Say goodbye to unruly hair and hello to a confident new you with Performance Package 4.0. Inside, you'll find everything you need for the ultimate ball care experience, including the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer with advanced skin-safe technology and an LED light for precision trimming in any lighting. But that's not all. The Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer with proprietary skin-safe technology helps reduce nicks and tugs, while a Crop Preserver ball deodorant and Crop Reviver ball toner keep you smelling fresh all day long. And with the added bonus of the performance, boxer briefs and a travel bag, you'll be ready to tackle any adventure life throws your way. So why wait? Upgrade your grooming game and join the 8 million men who trust Manscaped. Use the code Howson20 at manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping. Trust us, your balls will thank you. Match winner for United, I think, could be Bruno Fernandes, and he's the one that I actually have a doubt about whether he'll play. But I think Bruno Fernandes, he's at his best at the moment. I loved the captain performance from him on the sideline. Actually, Harry Maguire should be embarrassed. You've got Bruno who's come off and Maguire who's suspended. They're both on the touchline. They both got the opportunity to be able to speak to the players. And you see Harry Maguire disengaged, not there for the team, and Bruno basically managing the team. It was fantastic leadership, I thought, from Bruno. And as the commentary team said, very reminiscent of what you saw from Ronaldo in the Euros that Portugal won. But I liked that. And I think it shows how important it is to Bruno. And I think when he plays, United are far more of an attacking threat. Spurs are low on confidence at the moment, and I think he's got the ability to unlock a very nervous and a low on confidence defence, and he is definitely ruthless enough to be able to put Spurs away pretty much on his own. So I think he's going to be a big player for us. In terms of the starting 11, I can't see a single reason why you don't go with Shaw and Lindelof at centre-half. There is no question that is a better option than one that involves Harry Maguire. I think you go with Dalot and continue this trend of having him at left-back. You go with Wan-Bissaka, who I think can deal with what Spurs have got quite well. I think Sabitza's going to play, and I'm not sure if it'll be for Bruno, and I hope it isn't, or if it'll be for Eriksen, but I think he'll play over one of them. Let's say it's Eriksen for now. So let's go Sabitzer and Casemiro in the 6, Bruno in the 10, Anthony, Rashford. And it should be Anthony Martial, right? I don't think it'll be Anthony Martial. I think it'll be Weghorst. And how do we beat them? Well, you attack down the flanks. So Anthony and Marcus have got a big job to play here. They've got to stay wide, they've got to hold their width, and they've got to create and drag space. It's a lovely big pitch that Spurs have got. Open them up. You know, they have two defensive-minded midfielders in the pivot, so you're not going to get through centrally. It'll be the sort of game that the 9 would get isolated anyway. So you've got to go in the wide areas, and you've got to get down the wing. Son, who I expect to play, cheats, so it makes him a danger going the other way, but it means that there's probably going to be a lack of defensive responsibility from him. There's 2v1s and 1v1s all over the pitch, and you got to take advantage of those. And I would target Pedro Porro as well. I could be kind and say he's got a mistake in him, and he can sometimes get a little bit giddy going forward. But what I will say is he's fucking shit, and United should absolutely target him because he's fucking shit. And that's the weakness for me in that team. That and Perisic isn't a fullback. If they play a back four, honestly, if they play a back four, just giggle because you're going to fucking smash them. If they play a back three, it will be tighter. But even then, you know, they get behind the ball, and I don't think it does them a lot of favours, in all honesty. Quick switches and overloads. United are going to have a lot more possession than Spurs. Eriksen or Sabitzer or Bruno, whichever two of those three play, will be absolutely vital if United get a chance. Them with Casemiro are going to have periods of being on the ball for a long time because Spurs do sit in. And they got to pick the right pass at the right moment. And that requires a little bit of movement ahead of the ball. Just outside the box, if one of those lot picks up the ball, I think you got to look wide. Rather than shoot, it's a low percentage shot. I think you got to switch it to the other side. Look to try and get, you know, Anthony, Marcus, Delo, Wan-Bissaka, Sancho, whoever it is that's going to be playing fullback and winger, get him around the box, penetrate the side of the box, quick overlaps, underlaps. That'll be the key for United, creating chances, and then dominating midfield. I think they go with 2 in midfield, particularly if they go with 3 at the back. Even if they go over midfield 3, our midfield's better. Højbjerg is good, and I like him. But they are without Benteke, and Skip is weak. So I think you can get about them. The worry for United is the game and extra time, the tough game that we had with Brighton being in our legs. If you get over that, you're fine. If Spurs have an opportunity to rally around after the absolute shagging that they got, can they rally round? That remains to be seen for me. But, we will see how it goes. I've been checking the stats. You're not all subscribed. Hit the subscribe button because there is some exciting stuff about to be dropping. But cheers for tuning in. Make sure you are subscribed and turn the notifications on if you want. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, 5-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.